is Castañeda Dyess, and I'm president of the Houston Easton Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor to welcome you today to our webinar. We are all staying at home during COVID-19, all fighting against it to make sure that everyone is safe for our family, for our friends, and for the economy. So it's an honor today to introduce you to Cece Sutton. She is an expert in everything that she does, and today she's going to talk to us about the ABCs and 123's of working at home with the kiddos. I was telling her earlier that I have no human children. I have dogs, and I've got one German Shepherd dog that I had to let out right before we started because the UPS man was coming, and she loves to greet him with a big old smile and a bark. My husband is the son I never had, and it's great, you know, working sometimes with him, but he has to he's an essential worker and works out of the house. But when he is home, it's great. We balance ourselves, and it's wonderful. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Cece Sutton so she can get on with the show. Thank you, Cece.
Thank you so much, Easton Chamber, for having me. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help everyone stay sane and sanitized during this time. It's all about adapting to our new norm. So that's what I'm here for today, is to share some tools with you to help you get through this. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen here with you. There we go. And we'll go back one. There we go. There we go. So I want to welcome you guys to the ABCs and 123's of surviving COVID and the kiddos. You are in for a treat. If you've been trying to figure this thing out, I'm here to save your day. And if you're someone who does not have kiddos, that's quite okay. There is a little bit of something for everyone in this webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. So a little bit about me. I'm a work-life performance consultant, speaker, and leader, and I have the joy of helping people establish a healthy work-life rhythm. Outside of my day job, I am a wife of 13 years, the mommy to a fur baby named Peppy, a ballroom dancer, which I miss doing so much. I usually do that on the weekends, and I am a smoothie queen. I absolutely love smoothies. So before we get started here, what I like to do is I like to start off not only my presentations, but my mornings with saying affirmations. I believe that there's a lot of power in saying affirmations. And so if you're at home and if you're on mute, I'd love for you to say this with me here out loud. It is called Tough Times, but I'm Tougher. I focus on what I can control instead of what I can't. I remain grounded, centered, and at peace. I protect my peace by spending less time on social media watching the news. I take necessary precautions and release the need to worry. I choose calm over fear and faith over fear. I am safe and protected. I am equipped to be a great employee, spouse, and caregiver during this time. So, today, we're going to walk away with a few things. I'm so glad that you joined me because in this jam-packed hour, we're going to touch quite a few areas. The first one that we're going to do is we're going to talk about work. Then we're going to talk about how to manage life with our partner during this time. And then the one that you all are probably here and waiting for is how to survive COVID and the kiddos. My goal by the end of this is for you to walk away feeling like, you know what? I can do this. I have all the tools that I need to get me through. So let's make this happen. So first of all, I want to congratulate you. You are hired for a job that you did not sign up for. First of all, you're keeping your clients happy. You're answering tons of emails. You're homeschooling the kids. You're making 49 meals. You're doing all this, feeling like you're trying to save the world, but you are in luck because there are so many resources for you to help you with your new temporary job. So let's start off talking about how to manage COVID and your new work environment. And the very first thing that we're going to talk about is A, which is being accountable. The 3 steps to becoming an accountable employee during this time. Number 1, I want you to set your work schedules. We were just talking about here before you joined us how easy it is to go over your time. It's so easy to work all day and all night. So I'm going to encourage you to set your time, but I want you to be flexible with your work schedule as well. Many of us are serving clients. Some of them may be in different time zones. There may be a lot different variables that are going to dictate your schedule. So while I encourage you to set it and make sure that you are spending the appropriate amount of time at work and then at home, I do want you to be mindful of your clients who may need you outside of those normal hours. Secondly, I encourage you to promptly respond to all communications. There's something to be said about having to work in this type of environment. People think maybe you're just sitting here looking at the computer all day, 8 hours a day, and they're expecting you to respond right away ASAP. Well, that may not be realistic, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're responding in a very timely manner. And then thirdly, I encourage you to note your progress. I will go above and beyond with my clients, with my manager, and making sure that I reach out to them as frequently as possible for them to feel comfortable with knowing that you have everything under control, even though now we're working in a different environment. So maybe that may require you to check in maybe every other day in noting your progress, or sending them a quick email. Hey, here's what we got done today. Want to let you know I'm on top of things. The name of the game is just being accountable during this time. And for those of us who are managers or entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that you're setting very clear expectations for your teams, okay? Especially if your teams were not used to working in a remote environment. Some of us know how to do that and have a lot of discipline. Others of us need someone to keep our thumbs on them and set some expectations. So make sure that you're doing that. Secondly, you want to tell your team when they can reach you. You may be working a different type of work schedule at this time. You also want to let them know how they can go about reaching you. Is it Skype? Is it WebEx? Is it Microsoft Teams? Is it text message, phone? Whatever it is that you require, you want to make sure that you're setting very clear expectations and you're communicating to your team the best way to reach out to you. And thirdly, I would encourage you to continue to emphasize one-on-one check-ins. If you were doing that prior to the pandemic, I encourage you to keep as much of your norm as possible. So if you've been doing one-on-one check-ins weekly or every other day, continue to do that. Your team needs it. All right, now this is a portion that I love talking about, because so often we as humans think that we have to force ourselves to work straight 8-hour work days without taking breaks, and some of us even think, does taking breaks make me lazy? Actually, it's the exact opposite. It creates new ideas, new solutions. It gives your brain time to rest and adjust. There's so much more productivity that comes out of it whenever you take breaks throughout your day. So I'm going to explain to you here how to go about scheduling those breaks. That is the key. But first, did you know that Elon Musk runs 2 huge companies by breaking his day into 5-minute slots? Elon Musk is a very big advocate of taking breaks throughout the day. So heck, I think we should be too. So here's how I go about governing my day. And this is the tool that I recommend to my clients as well. And they found it very helpful. It's called the 3 big task rule. Okay. And what this consists of, at the start of your day, you're going to identify the 3 big items that you must get done that day. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to write those down. You're going to prioritize them. You're going to still have your little to-do list off to the side of things that you need to get done, because you're going to get those things done during your breaks throughout the day. Okay. And then at the end of the day, you're going to measure your productivity on, did I get those 3 big things done? It's so often that we start our day, and before we realize it, we've been answering emails all day long. And at the end of the day, we feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten anything done. So this is going to help you with your productivity throughout the day. So let's break it down. Here are the 3 steps to taking breaks throughout your day. First thing you got to do is you have to eliminate the distractions. So that means you might have to put the phone on vibrate or do not disturb, turn off your Facebook and Instagram notifications, do whatever you need to do to eliminate the distractions. After that, you're going to set a timer. Okay. Now, normally I batch out my days in 30 minutes or 90-minute increments, just depending on what I'm working on. So in this case, let's say I'm going to work in 90-minute increments. So I set my timer for 90 minutes. During that 90 minutes, I cannot have any distractions. Okay. I can't check any emails. I can't check any social media. I can't do anything except for focus on that first big task. Okay. Once that 90 minutes is up, then you will take your break. I generally take a break for maybe 15, 20 minutes, no work during that time. This is your time to maybe go check on the kiddos, maybe prepare lunch, go put on a load of laundry, whatever it is that you have to do on your honey-do list, you want to do that during your breaks. After that 15, 20-minute break is up, then you go back to your desk and you repeat. So you set the timer again for another 90 minutes and you just work your day throughout that time. There is something called Parkinson's law. It is a law out there that says whatever time that you allocate to get something done, that is the time that you use to get it done. So you would be surprised how much you can get done just by being intentional about setting that timer and telling yourself, I'm going to get this done within this allotted period of time. Again, I've shared this with many clients and they give it rave reviews because they say it helps them so much more with their productivity. So try it. Here's something to keep in mind. Top performers don't necessarily spend more total time working, but they do spend more time completely focused. And that's what breaks helps you to do. It helps you to refocus so you can get more done. C, let's talk about collaboration and communication. So the 3 steps to working collaboratively is that you definitely, during this time, you want to over communicate. If the thought comes to your mind, should I tell them this? Do it. Go ahead and do it. If it comes to mind, be proactive. Let that person know. Over communication is the key to making this new work environment work. Secondly, you want to resolve issues very quickly by just picking up the phone. So often we send text messages, emails, all those types of mediums, but sometimes the message gets lost in those. So if there's an issue, pick up the phone right away and get it resolved. And then thirdly, and one I want to emphasize, take time for water cooler chat. And what I mean by that is, so when we were in the offices, we would frequently see each other in the hallways or in the cafeteria and speak and check on the kiddos and how's everything going. And now in this new work environment, that element is cut out. But I encourage you to pick up the phone, send a text, check on your teammates, see how they're doing, check on the family. There's a lot to be said right now. There are so many people who are struggling with this new work environment. And so I want to encourage you to continue to keep the human touch, even though we're working now kind of in silos. Okay. All right. So those are the ABCs to managing your new workspace. And now let's talk about the ABCs to managing your partnership with your partner at home. The A is for ask for support. Now I'm going to talk to my ladies here because I'm a female, so I can only speak on that. But so often we struggle with asking for support. It's so hard. We're usually told, you should be able to handle it all and get it done. And we feel guilty when we can't. But right now is not the time to try to take the world on your shoulders. Right now, it is about leaning on your tribe and leaning on your support. So let's talk about how to ask for support. Before we do that, though, I like to have what I call reality checks. And I think it's really important that you have a reality check and ask yourselves these questions before you try to go about changing up the environment in your home. So prior to COVID-19, ask yourself, how involved was my partner around the house? Okay. Was your partner hands-on with the kids? Did they communicate regularly? If they didn't, you're going to have to be very, very patient during this time. Everyone in your household needs time to realign. Now, you may be saying, well, heck, it's been 5 weeks now. Shouldn't everybody be realigned? Not necessarily. We are all processing this very differently. The way you're processing it may not be the way your partner is processing it. It may not be the way your children is processing it. And honestly, it's going to take some of us more time to realign than others. So you have to be patient. So here are the 3 steps to asking for support. Number 1, again, I have to refer back to what we tend to do as women. We tend to get emotional and say, well, I need you to do this and I need you to do that, and everything's out of emotions. But quite often our message doesn't come across. And so what I encourage you to do is first prepare what you want to say. That may mean you need to write it down first, or put it in your phone. Whatever it is that you need, just get it out of your head first and be able to clearly write down what you need. And then once you get ready to address the matter with your partner, please remember your timing, your tone, and your tact. Timing is very crucial, okay? If you have an issue, it's probably not best to talk about that issue once your partner comes home and they're all frazzled. You want to be very mindful of the timing. Your tone, you want to make sure that you're talking to your partner in a respectful manner. This is a partnership, okay? We're all under stress. There's a lot of tension. We all feel it, but let's be mindful of how we speak to one another. And then the tact goes hand in hand. You want to make sure that you're not speaking in a way that is condescending. You want to make sure that you're validating your partner's feelings and emotions about things. Just being very mindful of these things, especially at this time where tensions are high and stress and anxiety is there as well. Secondly, you want to be very specific with your needs and expectations. For example, if you're going to ask your partner to help with the dishes, well, you might want to set out some expectations if you want those dishes done a certain way. So it's very important that you're very specific about what you need. And then thirdly, I want to encourage you to assess where else you can get help. You may have a partner that works out in the field. They're an essential. They can't be working from home, which means most of the day you can't rely on them, okay? So I want to encourage you to get creative. If you are someone who is at home by yourself and you need help with the kiddos, you might be scheduling virtual play dates with grandma or grandpa or the babysitter or aunts and uncles, someone who can keep the little one engaged and occupied while you're engaged and occupied. So again, the name of the game is to lean on your tribe during this time. Do not feel guilty about asking for support. I like this one. The B is for backing up and breathing. Woo. You may have missed this, or you may have heard it. Mayor Sylvester Turner came out with his team probably about a week ago, and they announced that domestic violence is up by 79% at this time compared to last year. Tension is high. Okay, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of uncertainty. And what we have to do is we have to learn how to back up and breathe during this time. So let's talk about it. Here's your second reality check. How well do I know my partner's temperament? I want you to think about this, because your partner's temperament is going to be very important for you to keep in mind whenever you're trying to go about your day. Okay. So here are the 3 steps to backing up and breathing. Number 1, I want you to get realistic, and I want you to set expectations about how you're going to disagree or fight or whatever you call it in your home. You already know it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. It's very important that you go ahead and set up those boundaries about how are we going to have disagreements. If we're upset with one another, are we going to go and, de-escalate? Are we going to go for a walk? Are we going to go in the room and close the door? Are we going to sit down and talk about it? Go ahead and sit down with your partner and discuss, how are we going to handle these issues when they come up? Okay. Secondly, you have to be honest with each other about your need for alone time. Okay. All of us need alone time. So for example, if you're an essential and you're not home until maybe 7 p.m., you want to sit down and talk to your partner and say, hey, honey, I know you're going to need my help around the house, but if you can give me an hour to decompress once I get home, then I'm happy to help wash the kids, help them with their homework, do whatever needs to be done. But I just need some alone time. It's really, really important for me in order to be here and present for the family. And then lastly, sometimes you just have to step back. Okay. During this time, this is not a time where you want to bring up any kind of major heated type of conversations. Sometimes you may just have to let your partner make it. They may have blew up at you. You may just need to step back from the situation and allow them some time to regroup. Now is not the time to try to go for tit for tat with things. You really, really want to make sure that you're being mindful of each other during this time. And then something else I want you to keep in mind. I want you to know that time apart is just as important as time together, okay? Time apart is just as important as time together. We are in a confined space that we're having to share. We need that time apart. So let's be upfront about it. Let's plan it. Let's get it done, okay? So please, when it comes to surviving this thing, please know that planning and collaboration is key. So let's talk about clean and clear collaboration. I like that. Clean and clear collaboration. So another reality check here. Ask yourselves, in which areas can my partner and I share the load? If you're the one that's doing the cooking, the cleaning, handling the house, job, all that stuff, it's time to step back and really ask yourself this question. Where can my partner step in? Okay. Ask yourselves, is my partner working from home? How do I keep my partner committed to the new task? How do I help them with the to-dos? There's some things that has to go into planning if you want your partner to step in and help. So here are the 3 steps to clean and clear collaboration. Number 1, you want to discuss schedules and set expectations. I encourage you to be sitting down with your partner nightly and talking about your schedule for the next day. Very important. We need to know who's going to be cooking dinner, who's going to get the kiddos ready for bed, who's going to help with homework. We need to plan out as much as possible so we can stay in sync. Okay. Number 2, ladies especially, we want to seek completion, not perfection. So you ask the hubby to get the kiddos ready. The kiddos come in, they got their clothes on backwards. Some of their hair is not done. Who cares? Listen, they're only working from the living room, okay? Let's just be glad that the kids are dressed. Let's not seek perfection at this time, but let's seek completion. And most importantly, Let's show each other appreciation. Now, this might be a new one for some of us. You may be asking yourselves, well, what do I need to thank him for getting the kids dressed? Those are his kids too, or what do I need to thank him for washing the dishes or putting out the trash? We all need to do our part. But you would be very surprised to know that appreciation goes a very long way. And I'll give you a quick example. Normally, every morning, I'm the one to make the bed. There are some mornings where I can't make the bed or I have to hurry up and run out. But when I come home and see a freshly made bed, I am so appreciative because my husband does not make the bed on a normal basis. It is not his thing to do. But he told me one day, he said, the reason why I make the bed for you sometimes is because I love the way you show me appreciation. Wow. Just a thank you. That's all I had to do. Yes, that's all you have to do sometimes. So be very mindful of showing appreciation, even for the smallest things that your partner does around the house. And then just a few more tips. I want you to please try to limit your conversations around COVID. Just really talk about the things that have to be talked about if you can help it. Very important that you are validating your partner's concerns. Your partner may come to you and share some things with you. It's not for you to blow off and be like, oh, it'll be okay. Sit and listen. Unless your partner asks for you to give a solution, don't give one. Just listen. Communicate your needs regularly. Schedule daily check-ins. I encourage you to be doing a mental health check at least twice a day with your partner. I do one in the morning when my husband wakes up. I ask, how are you feeling today? Some mornings he may say, I'm a little bit on edge, so if I'm a little bit snappy, please don't take it personal. Great. I now know that if he is snappy, I don't have to take that personally. It has nothing to do with me. He's just having a rough day. Okay. And then at the end of the day, I ask him this. I say, what are you grateful for? What happened today that you're grateful for? It's going to be very important that you work to keep your partner and your family on a positive note. I would encourage you at the end of the day to ask the whole family, what are you grateful for that happened today? Staying positive is the key to getting through this pandemic. Focusing on what you can control is the key to getting through this pandemic. So those are the ABCs to getting through COVID with your partner. Now let's talk about what you've been waiting for, and that is surviving COVID and the kiddos. Your kids have already shown you who they are. Please believe them and create a plan. You're gonna need it. Let's talk about it. The A is for be adaptable. Whew. This is very critical, especially for those of us who run a tight ship around the house. It is very important that you step back, you be flexible, be patient, be understanding, and allow your time for your children to realign. Here's something that I want you to sit and think about for a second. Many children have left a structured school environment and entered an unstructured home environment. That's a big deal. So many parents are expecting their children to come home and fall right in line, but was there structure within the home before all of this? I want you to ask yourselves, is this my reality? Is this what my child is going through right now? So here's another reality check. Prior to COVID-19, what was my home like? Was it running pretty independently of me, or was I very hands-on? I had to make sure everyone was doing what they were doing. Very important that you ask yourselves these questions, because if you answered no to any of them, you got some work to do, okay? It's very unrealistic to expect your family to fall in place when there really wasn't any structure in the beginning. So let's talk about it. Here are 3 steps to becoming adaptable. Number 1, as I mentioned, you gotta be realistic. Be realistic. There's a lot of advice out here about what you should be doing and all those things, but you have to ask yourselves, does that work for my home? Was that the setup before? If it wasn't the setup and I want that to be the new setup, I'm gonna have to be patient. Number 2, you gotta anticipate challenges. There are gonna be some challenges with the kiddos. You wanna go ahead and troubleshoot those in advance. For example, if you have a little one who has a hard time with turning on the TV or a video game or whatever it is, you may wanna leave little instructions on the side next to the TV, letting them know how to go about turning it on, okay? Just anticipate those challenges and troubleshoot them in advance. And then thirdly, you gotta be patient and get creative. You got to. You're having to step outside of the box and understanding how to manage your child on a daily basis, and understand that every day it might look different. The method that worked yesterday may not work today. So you're gonna have to build up an arsenal of different creative things to get your child to fall in line during this time. B is for setting boundaries and structure. Again, ask yourselves, how well do I know my child? Okay. This is going to be very important because for those of us who are having interruptions throughout the day and we just can't understand why we can't keep our child focused, it's important that you ask yourself, what subjects are my child strong in? Because that means the subjects that they're strong in, those are going to be the subjects that you want them to be working on while you're working. The subjects that they're not that strong in, you're going to save towards the end of the day. So maybe you can help them stay focused and help them with the work. That's how we have to be thinking right now. You need to be asking yourselves, what is my child motivated by? What incentives do I need to put in place to keep my child engaged and motivated and going? And then you need to ask yourself, is my child self-disciplined, or am I one that always has to keep my thumb on my child? Let's talk about it. Here are the 3 steps to setting boundaries and a structured homeschool routine. Number 1, you have to know the schools and the teachers' expectations. If you have not done so already, I'm going to encourage you to pick up the phone and call your child's teacher, okay? Here's the deal. Some districts are asking you, some districts are taking grades, other districts are not taking grades. I need to know that. Some teachers are sending home a truckload of homework and you're thinking, oh my God, my kid has to get all this work done. But then you call and talk to the teacher and they say, oh no, some of that's just busy work. Only 10% of it has to get done. That's important for you to know. It's also important for you to know, are they going to require some computer time? If so, what do they have to do once they're in the computer? Very, very important that you're having conversations with your teachers, especially for those of us who may have multiple children. Now, if you have multiple children and let's say you only have one computer at home, you need to talk to that teacher and help that teacher to understand, hey, we got the homework assignments, but I need you to bear with me because I have 5 kids who are depending on one computer. Talk it out. Talk it out. Manage the expectations with the teachers. They will completely understand once you explain it to them. Number 2, you want to communicate expectations, rewards, incentives, and consequences, okay? It's going to be very important that little Johnny and little Susie understand up front, hey, here are my expectations of you throughout the day. Here are the rewards. Here's what I'm going to give you. And then here are going to be the consequences if you don't do what I need for you to do. And then you gotta follow through. Ooh, that's a big one. Some of us are struggling with that one, the follow through part, because at the end of the day, you're exhausted and you forgot all about the consequences. But please know, if you don't enforce the consequences, the little ones will continue to do whatever it is they're doing. So very important that you do that. Number 3, I want to take a quick moment to touch on a few different scenarios that may be going on at home. If you're a single parent right now, some of my clients are single parents and they're like, what the heck can I do? I don't have the resources or the support. Number 1, I want you to understand that you do have resources and support. I mentioned earlier, you may have to schedule some virtual play dates with grandma, grandpa, babysitter, whoever you need to do in order to keep the little one occupied. You also want to be managing up. And here's what I mean by managing up. You need to get on the phone and talk to your manager and help them to understand your current work environment. I have a little one. He or she requires a lot of my time and attention. I may not get to the emails right now ASAP. You may even go as far to say, look, I have an infant or someone that requires my time during the day. Can I work an alternate schedule? So during the day, can I maybe just periodically check emails? But then in the evenings, once the little one is down, I can then be fully engaged and answer all the emails. Talk to your manager, help them to understand what your current environment is. That is really, really important, okay? For those of us who have multiple children, again, you want to get on the phone with all of those teachers and get a very clear understanding about what is needed of your child at this time. Also, if you have multiples, depend on the older ones. Have the older ones help the little ones with homework or the little distractions that they have throughout the day. Really make sure that you're depending on your whole tribe. It's very, very important that you do that, okay? Also, for those of us who have littles, maybe they can't tell time. They don't know when mommy's done with work. They think an hour has passed in 5 minutes. So what I encourage you to do is to set a timer. Let the little one know, I'm going to set this timer for 30 minutes. I want you to work until you hear the timer go off. Once you hear the timer go off, mommy's going to come and check on you, make a snack, whatever that is. But they need to know that you're still there and you're here to help them throughout their day, but it has to be with structure. Here's a big misconception. So many people are spazzing out because they're like, oh my God, there's no way I can teach like my child's teacher. There's no way that I can keep them engaged and doing homework for 6-7 hours a day. Let it go. Big misconception. Your child maybe only get 3 or 4 hours of work done that day. But please make sure that you understand that if your child is given homework by the school from 8 to 1, but you have to work 8 to 5, it's going to be up to you to figure out what other activities need to be in that 1 to 5 schedule so your child is not bothering you while you're working. Just keep that in mind, okay? And then lastly here, the C is for creating consistency, and it's very similar. It goes hand in hand with keeping the boundaries and the structure for your child. But first, I want you to ask yourselves, how can I reinforce good behavior? Okay. If you have multiple children, maybe one loves TikTok time. That's how you can reward them. The other one wants time with technology, or the other one wants to stay up late, or the other one wants money. Figure out what incentives you need to put in place to keep your children in line and in order. Okay. So here are the 3 steps to creating consistency. Again, plan for the interruptions and address them. I have found that the parents that are doing this the best, they're the ones who are taking breaks throughout their workday, and they're checking on the kiddos, and they're making sure they have everything they need. They're pre-planning the night before. They're explaining expectations, rewards, and incentives up front. They're making sure that everyone in their household understands what's expected of them and what happens if they do or don't do what's expected of them. And then the third point here is please, please, please give your children lots and lots and lots of praise during this time. It's just like you want to show your spouse appreciation. You need to make sure that you're showing the kids a lot of praise. They're going to thrive off of that. That's going to help them through this difficult time. So those are the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s to surviving work, your partner, and the kiddos. But guess what? We can't forget about you. So let's talk about how to manage you during this time. If you want to have a sane, a stress-free, and a successful day, guess what you have to do? You got to fill up your cup first. If you are not taking the time for self-care and filling up your cup first, your days are probably long, miserable, and exhausting, okay? The key to making this work is filling up your glass first. So let's talk about it. I am a very, very, very big proponent of making time for self-care throughout your day, okay? A lot of people think of self-care as this one-time event or a treat or something that you get if you're a good girl. No, you need self-care every single day, and you need to plan it throughout your day. So the very first thing to making it work is first you have to set the tempo, which means you first have to communicate the need to your partner. That looks like, hey, honey, we all need time for self-care, okay? You need it, I need it, the kids need it. Then you need to go about looking for things that rejuvenate you, because that's all that self-care is. Self-care is anything that rejuvenates you. Self-care is as simple as taking in 3 big deep breaths. Self-care is walking on the track maybe for 30 minutes. It doesn't matter how long you do it, just as long as you're doing something to rejuvenate yourself. Secondly, you have to schedule the time. That is the key. That is what a lot of us are missing. We're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some time for myself. And then you look up and it's time to go to bed and you haven't done anything for you. You have to put it on the calendar. You have to find it. Some of us are saying, I don't have time for any self-care. Look at all this I have to do. You have 165 hours in a work week. You need to sit down and look at your calendar and realistically plot out the time. It may have to be at 5 a.m. before the day starts. It may have to be at 10 p.m. once everyone is asleep. No matter the time, find it, set it, and then share it with your family. That means maybe putting it on their calendar as well, so they know, oh, at 11 to 1 or 11 to 11:30, that's mommy's time. She needs that time, or that's daddy's time. Schedule it. Very important. And then lastly, you got to stick to it, okay? So many of us, we start off something really good and we feel so good once we start doing it, and then we look up and we're not doing it anymore. Stay in the moment, stay focused, stay committed to it. So set the tempo, schedule the time, and stick to the tune. That is the key to making self-care work for you and your family. And please do not forget, once again, your kids need self-care time too. But guess what? They're not going to schedule it because half the time they don't even know that they need it. If your children are spending a lot of time on the phone and social media and all that stuff, that's draining. That's draining out them, their energy. They may not realize it, but you know it. So let's get proactive and schedule some time for the kiddos too for self-care. For those of us who may need a little extra help, guess what? You are in luck because there is an app for that. And you are in luck because I am your app queen. I research and find many different apps out there that help us in managing our productivity and our well-being, and I'd like to take a moment to share a few of those with you. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. We're almost at the end here, so if you want to just take a picture of your screen so you can check out these later, I encourage you to do that. But first, let's talk about a few well-being apps that I absolutely love. The first one is called Stress and Anxiety Help. This is a top-notch tool that I encourage all of my clients who are handling stress right now to check out. What I love about Sanvello is that it's interactive with you. At the beginning of your day, it asks you, how are you doing? You get to log how you're doing. Throughout the day, it's tracking and monitoring how you're handling your day. And then at the end, it gives you a nice report to show you how you went about managing your day and some just suggestions on what you can do to get better at it. It's a great app. Love it. The second one that I recommend is Headspace. This is for those of us who are into meditation and mindfulness and want to clear our thoughts and be more guided and intentional with our thoughts. Headspace is outstanding. For those of us who are big on showing gratitude or want to start exercising gratitude, and let me tell you, therapists out there are saying this is the time to really get into working on your gratitude. Even if that means that at the top of your day, you say 3 things that you're grateful for. This is a great app for you to go about tracking your gratitude. I really encourage you to do that. A few more well-being apps. MedHelper is an excellent app for those of us who are caring for someone who has to take medication. It allows you to refill prescriptions. It allows you to reach out to your doctors. It's an excellent app. Check that out. The second one here, my personal favorite, is MyFitnessPal. It is a great accountability app for those of us who are having a hard time managing the weight and our food intake. It allows you to track all of your food. I lost a solid 30 pounds using this app. It works. I love it. And then for those of us like myself who would like to get into yoga, I actually recently downloaded this app, Yoga for Beginners. It's excellent. It takes the time to break down all the basic yoga moves for those of us who want to get into it. Love these apps. All right, here are a few productivity apps that you might find helpful. The first one is AnyDo. I love this app because this is how I manage my honeydews. So anytime I need my husband to do something, I just put it in AnyDo and then it allows me to share it with him. So the task is now on his calendar as well. For those of us who are still having to do some work around the house and you have to sign documents, DocuSign is a great electronic document signature system for you to check out. This right here, I live by this app. So you might be like me and you have lists and lists of to-dos, things that you just got to get done. But sometimes it's hard to get that done because I haven't prioritized what needs to get done. So this is a great prioritization tool. Check it out. You'll love it. And then lastly, some of us may be working on some side projects, maybe a book, you need a ghostwriter, or maybe you're working on a website, you need a web developer. Upwork has a host of people out there, freelancers waiting to do work for you. So check that out. Fiverr is also another one. That's Fiverr. Great resources out here to help you with managing the load around the house. A few more apps. Cozy. This is a family organizer. A lot of my clients use this app and they live and breathe by it. If you have a large family, you have a lot of moving parts and pieces, you definitely want to download Cozy. For those of us like me who dread going to the grocery store, I don't even like going to the grocery store before the pandemic, so I certainly don't want to go now. You have apps like Instacart, Lyft, Amazon. There's all kinds of different apps out there to help you save time and energy by delivering the groceries to you. And if you're anything like me, you forget all your passwords and you spend more time trying to remember them. So the #1 app that I found is Safe and Cloud. I love it because what it does is it syncs with the cloud system. So if in case you lose your phone or don't have it, you can easily log in from somewhere else and get all of your passwords. Excellent app. And then for those of us who want to try the taking the breaks throughout the day and you want to use a timer system, Pomodoro is a great timer and to-do list app to help you with managing your productivity. So for those of us who may need a little accountability when this is all said and done, and that's probably a lot of us, I want you to sign up for my self-care reminders. If you text self-care, the number 4 me to 31996, you will receive some self-care reminders from me. Once you're on there, I want to make sure that you actually complete the sign up, and then you will receive your first self-care reminder. I have created some tools to help you to take care of yourselves while social distancing. And also, if you sign up for this today, you will also be the first to know about my new planner that I'm going to release at the end of this month. It's called Now Back to You, and it is a 30-day self-care planner, and it allows you to plan out your self-care. There is also a questionnaire in there to help you to figure out what more self-care things you can be doing. There are some wonderful affirmations in there, journals, all kinds of stuff to help you manage your self-care. So, we have accomplished just what I said we came here for. You now know how to maximize your productivity, how to work collaboratively, how to balance the work and home schedule, how to set the routine for the kiddos, how to overcome stress and burnout, and most importantly, how to keep peace in your home. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you want to connect with me, I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, I'm on there. And I would definitely want to welcome you out on Facebook to join my group. It's called CC Sutton Help Me With My Work-Life Balance. I would love to continue to provide resources to you there. But we are now at the end, so I would love to take some questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Stacey. I hope that everyone here understands how wonderful and lucky we are to have her give us this wonderful information and advice. And if it's one of your first Zooms, at the very bottom of the screen, there is a chat bar. If you click on that, you can see there's CC Sutton's information. Feel free to type in your information. We'll be able to share a transcript of this chat with everybody that's on the call today. And also make sure that if you have any questions, to either type them here in the chat or in the Q&A. But I've got a comment question for you, Cece. So I love the comment that you made about doing the dishes, but stating exactly how. So sometimes my husband will do the dishes, but when I go to put them away, I find there's still food on them and it's just not done. So sometimes I just have to say, just do it slowly and just double check.
Yes.
So thank you for that tip, because I didn't, tell him how to do it, just to get it done. That's an interesting thing.
And you would be surprised how the little things like, just that little fix will fix that issue,
Yes. And then another thing that I loved your part about taking naps and taking care of yourself. Today at the Easton Chamber, we were at Texas Mattress Maker, and we helped, along with Valero Houston Refinery, give lunch meals to our first responders here in the East End. So I was up at 5, making that first delivery at 7 a.m. We had the press conference at 11 and started delivering some more meals at 12 o'clock. And now here we are here doing this at 2 o'clock. So I'm ready for a nap. I've got so many things to get done with. So I'm hoping I'm going to listen to you and put a cutoff time and just make sure that I take care of myself and breathe.
Yes. So important. So important. I want to share one other tip that some people have a hard time entering this conversation with their partner about an issue or a topic. My husband and I have used something called Out of Love. And Out of Love has really helped us through these 13 years of marriage, I'm telling you. So the way it goes is Out of Love is like kind of a secret password for us to let us know, hey, I'm getting ready to address something with you you probably don't want to hear, okay? So it's meant to de-arm the person so they can really listen to what it is that you need. And the ground rules to it is, number one, you can't do a tit for tat, okay? You can't get upset. All you can do is respond back to that person and say, you know what, I'll do better next time. So a quick example, I say, hey, honey, out of love, it really bothers me when you leave your clothes scattered all over the place. Can you do better with that next time? Can you pick them up and make sure they go where they need to go? And all he can say is, I apologize. I'll do better about that next time. Period. Move on with life.
I love it. I love
it.
And the book that you just talked, the 30-day self-planner, I wanted to suggest to people that is a really good idea as a Mother's Day gift for your coworkers. And also when we do go back to the office, maybe it's another gift that you can give to your coworkers, you can give to your clients. Everyone's going to have a near normal, and that would be something really that everyone is going to have to start something nice to give to them, and then they'll also help them with their daily routine.
I like that. Thank you so much for that recommendation. I think it's absolutely needed. People don't even know that they need it until you say you need
Yeah,
it.
I know. And I've got one of the questions I wanted to read to you.
Sure. Hmm.
How about from Diana
Hmm.
Burgos? How about if your kids do not want to listen and finish their schoolwork? And then what techniques can one use to get them to follow instructions?
That's good. And that's a lot. You know what? I've heard of that from my clients who have teenagers. They're like, no, I don't want you teaching me anything, mom or dad. You might have to get a little creative there and find some things that speak to them, maybe some educational things that are out there. Maybe there's some books or things like that that they may want to check out. Every day is going to be different, okay? Every day is going to be different. There may truly be a day where your child is just, they don't have it. It's not in them, you know? Help them to understand, I'm going to give you this time to do something productive. You know, you may teach them something to do. Maybe they don't know how to wash clothes yet. Whatever it is that you're doing, make sure it's still to the benefit of your child. I don't want them to just sit there on their phone all day because they want to be a lazy or a bum. So you're either going to do your work or you're going to do this work. How about that? And then again, I want to reiterate the importance of incentives right now. They're going to go a long way. Okay. Some of your kids may be incentivized by, you know, I'll give you $1 a day if you do this, that, and the third. Some of us may feel like, well, I don't want to have to barter with my child, but understand we are in very different times right now. We really have to be patient. We're going to have to do some trial and error, and we're going to have to be flexible because our kids are processing this. That's why I say self-care is so important for the children too, because you would be surprised how much stress and anxiety this is even causing for them. So be patient, be flexible, get creative, allow them some time to step back a little bit, but they have to re-engage.
Good. And then I've got another question. So for moms with small kids under 5 or special needs, how would you recommend setting blocks of time?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So this is really going to depend on your child's need. You know your child by now. Remember earlier I was saying we know our kids, believe them. So what you're going to want to do is you're really going to want to get a good feel, and it's going to be some trial and error. Maybe the first day you may only be working in 15-minute blocks, and then you find that your child needs you. Your child is going to show you how often you should be setting these breaks. They will, trust me. I have a client who was even potty training. She's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You need to schedule your breaks and schedule them according to what you kind of see your child handling and dealing with. Also, the timer is going to be really good too for them to understand, okay, mommy's coming. Sometimes they're feeling this anxiety because they feel like I'm alone, no one's paying me any attention. You need to let them know, mommy's here. I'm going to be checking on you several times throughout the day. Here's what that looks like. But be flexible, allow the interruptions because they're going to happen periodically, and then adjust your schedule accordingly.
Great answer. Great answer. I've got another good question. What are your recommendations for employers having to deal with employees setting different real work hours and still needing 40 hours a week work products?
That's good. So here's something that a lot of people don't realize unless you've been working from home for a while, that they may not be working 40 hours. Let's just be honest. Working from home allows people the flexibility to get their work done in the time frame that they need to get it done. So if you tell your employee, I need you to have this done by the end of the day. If they have it done by the end of the day, that's all we care about. We care about productivity and output right now, not so much about clocking hours. That's not what we're working from home remotely. Really, that's not the nature of it. I understand in the office, you're able to control that a lot more, but employers, we want to step back and take some of the stress off of ourselves and be concerned about, is the job getting done in the time frame that I've asked for it?
That's really a good one too. And I think I shared with you before we started that one of the things that I've started to do working at home, because there's so much going on, uncertainty, things, stress. I've started listening, and I have a speaker next to my computer, and the Pandora ocean waves music, and it just literally has calmed me down. I don't even notice that it's playing in the background, but it's another thing that truly calms me down. So that's another tip that I wanted to share with others, and just try whatever it is that makes you a little stress-free.
That's it. It's some trial and error. You're going to try some things. You're going to be like, I loved it or I hated it. Throw it out if you hate it. I'm like you. At night, we're listening to some soft jazz to go to sleep because our sleeping patterns are all over the place right now. But try some things differently. Maybe lighting a candle will help you. Throughout my day, I have a candle always lit. I just like to look over there. That's peacefulness. That's calmness for me, you know?
Mhm.
Trial and error.
So good, so good. Well, those are some really good, again, very, very good information. And people out there that are listening, if you would like to have Cece come talk to your organization, or if you want to recommend her to your church, any group that you'd like to have her come speak at, by all means, follow her. Remember, on the chat, there's her contact information, and a new tool that we've learned. If you hover over the chat box, there's 3 little dots on the right-hand side. Well, maybe not. Yeah.
Oh, I see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you
Save chat.
Yeah, you just save chat, and then you get to save all the information that's on there too. So,
Awesome.
so thank you so much, Cece, for being with us today. I just wanted to remind everybody that if you haven't liked the East End Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, please do so. Follow us on LinkedIn and let us know how we can help you in your business, or you as an individual during this time. Our website has some resources for COVID-19 business recovery that we're updating on a daily basis. You'll find videos like this one on our Facebook, on our website, and you can watch other videos that will help you during this time as well. Reach out to us. We're here for you, and together we'll get through this. Thank you. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.